First off, hope you guys love the new theme of the Unfiltered podcast. We are officially in full. I mean, we've been for a while now, about a month, but off-season mode in the NFL. The only thing really coming up now is the NFL draft. But there are still two stories that we're still talking about almost 2 months later since the season ended. The Aaron Rodgers saga, not quite done yet. The Lamar Jackson saga, definitely not quite done yet. In fact, there's way more meat on that bone. And I want to kind of lay out where I stand on both topics here on this Unfiltered episode here. Of course, this podcast, all podcast catchers, this is what I call the B side of the Aaron Rodgers podcast. You know, that's more long form. This is short form, one topic, one trend topic. The Aaron Rodgers thing. Now I saw a report a couple days ago that from Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports, NFL writer, in that they expect a deal to be done between the Rodgers, Packers, and the Jets to facilitate that trade. Obviously, we saw Aaron Rodgers' comments on the Pat McAfee show a couple weeks ago where he said he intends to play for the New York Jets. We've seen all the seeds in place where some foreign players, like Alan Lazard, for example, signed with the Jets. So that obviously facilitated all that. We don't know exactly what compensation they're going to give up to get him. He is obviously owed close to $60 million this year. I think same as next year too. So I guess where I want to stand with this, and obviously this is all based on the assumption that Aaron Rodgers will be a member of the New York Jets. What is the ceiling? Because we debated this on the Huddle Up podcast, which by check it out on the Huddle Up podcast feed across all podcast catchers. We debated this on the show, myself, Kyle, Jim, Matt, and Mike. And we debated this topic about the ceiling. And I said on the show, and I caught a little flack for what I said here, because you know me, I like to throw little zingers here, but follow along here. There was logic behind what I said here. That this regular season-wise, the Jets should win between 9 and 10 games with Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback. There's still questions at the offensive line if it's good enough to hold up. Obviously, and those are legit arguments, obviously. But they can win 9-10 games, get into a wild card. Because I still think, even though, and I'll get to that in a second about where they stand and among the rest of the conference might matter. And if they get breaks on the side, I can see them playing into the AFC title game. Now, of course, that caught the ire of many on the panel. But follow me here. Here's my logic on that real quick when it comes to Aaron Rodgers and that for matter. I think the Jets are a playoff team with Aaron Rodgers as quarterback. Full stop. Okay? The only two teams in the AFC, I believe, that are clearly, on paper, better than the Jets right now are the defending Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs, and the Cincinnati Bengals. Okay? Everybody else in the AFC, I could see being on par, even if it's slightly better, then there isn't a major separation between teams like Buffalo, teams like Miami, teams like the Chargers, the former San Diego Chargers, LA Chargers, the Ravens, if Lamar Jackson gets back. Get to him in a second. And so my point was, let's say, for example, the Bengals and the Chiefs play in the second round of play. Let's say the Chiefs get a bye week. Bengals get they get into the playoffs with a little less record. They play the Chiefs in the second round of playoffs, divisional round of playoffs. And obviously they duke it out. Chiefs win, Bengals win, doesn't matter. The Jets can avoid those two teams and find their way in the AFC title game. That's what I meant by that. Now, if the Chiefs and the Bengals are the 1 and 2 seed in the AFC next year, then their ceiling is the divisional round. But I can see the Jets getting around. Because here's the thing, my point, more than anything else. The Buffalo Bills didn't get better this offseason. I'm not saying it got worse, but they didn't separate. Okay? The Dolphins have questions. Like, I think the Dolphins have the best roster in that division. Probably the best roster, well-rounded roster in the division. But the big question is the quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa. Can he stay healthy? That's a major question. We saw last year when it played out. When he played, he was great. When he didn't play, the Dolphins stunk. It's just that simple. The Chargers have Brandon Staley as coach. Can't trust him. Okay? The Ravens, Lamar Jackson, is he going to be playing there next year? We don't know. Who else in the AFC really are we counting on here? So there hasn't been. So outside the Bengals and the Chiefs, there's no one else in the AFC that has separated themselves to where I can't see the Jets, at the very least, playing into the AFC title game, depending on how things play out. Okay? Other concerns, yes. And not only that, you know Rodgers' history. When he's with his back against the wall, you know, whether or not he, for example, when the Packers drafted Jordan Love back in, 2018, whatever it was, a couple years ago, and that obviously infuriated Rodgers. All he did is win MVP 2 years in a row. Now, obviously, we can case that, okay, obviously he melted in the playoffs. Right. All I'm saying is that no one else in the AFC outside the Chiefs and the Bengals has separated themselves to where I can't say the Jets can, at the very least, make the divisional round, and if they get a break or two, make the AFC title game. That was my point. On the show. Controversially, it sounded, which I don't think it is controversial at all. I explained again on this podcast what exactly I meant. Okay? So, the Jets, the Aaron Rodgers, in a one-year sample, makes the Jets better. End discussion. This team won 7 games last year with the worst quarterback play arguably in the NFL last year. The three-headed monster of Joe Flacco, Zach Wilson, and Mike White. Come on now. Come on now. So that's all I'm saying there. That you have to at least give Rodgers at least a couple of wins in there, hopefully, for his sake, for the team's sake. And that's all I'm saying. Ain't that controversial? Come on now. Now, as Lamar Jackson, obviously, he requested a trade. He said he requested a trade back on March 2nd. Didn't come out to this past Monday. Here's the bottom line. And there's a lot of bad faith actors on both sides of the argument when it comes to this conversation about Lamar Jackson and about should he get paid his full guarantee, whatever he wants, full guarantee or the money he wants, and the other way around, and the Ravens being concerned. Both sides here, Lamar Jackson's side, the Ravens side here, both sides have valid points. Both sides are right. They're both right. Lamar Jackson does deserve his money. How much? I don't know. I mean, the Ravens have not built a team around him. In fact, their team, their whole identity is literally Lamar Jackson. They draw run plays for Lamar Jackson, for crying out loud. His best weapon is Mark Jackson, the tight end. Who, by the way, Mark Jackson, top 5 tight end in the league, yes, but that's all you have. Okay? But here's the case that the Ravens has, and it's valid now 2 years in a row now. The fact of the matter is Lamar Jackson has missed the last 5 games of both the 2021 season and the 2022 season. That's a fact. The Ravens have a right to be concerned about that. Because what do we say a lot of times on the shows that I do? The best ability is availability. Okay? So there is concern about Lamar Jackson. Can he hold up? And it should be concerned about that. It's legitimate. It is legitimate. It should be legitimate. It's not Baltimore playing here. And to all the folks bring up the racial thing, that's a race thing. If other quarterbacks that are white, would have this issue, they get paid right away when I issue. That to me, that's low-hanging fruit. Because here's the fact of the matter, and this is the facts. Facts for feelings here, guys. The highest paid player right now in the league is black. That's Deshaun Watson. The highest paid player in the league 2 years ago was black, Patrick Mahomes. And the one before that was Russell Wilson. So we can't use that as a crutch. You can't use that when there's been other situations to the contrary that has been the case in that the quarterback has been black. And again, I'm sitting here saying this from a perspective of Lamar Jackson wanting his money. But also, the big elephant in the room too as well, on top of that, is Lamar also does not have an agent. He doesn't have an agent. So a lot of the dirty work that would be done for him, he has to do himself. Is he making all the calls to the GMs and to the owners about getting a trade, facilitating a trade? This is what owners do. So Lamar Jackson, in a lot of ways, with the tweeting too, and he's not saying anything derogatory, of course, but I think he's playing this wrong. Look, I'm still the opinion that come hell high water, and again, I'm still shocked that no teams have put up the two first round draft picks to get Lamar. Atlanta should try to get him. Washington should try to get him. Indy should try to get him. Without even proof that it's actually collusion. Does it feel like collusion here? Yeah, kind of does. Because Deshaun Watson, but you got the Cleveland Browns. Lamar Jackson is paying for this because the Cleveland Browns are a dumb franchise. That's the reality of the situation. Okay? They panicked and overpaid Deshaun Watson, who, by the way, had a lot of off-field issues. But we have to get into that. So, seriously, look at it from that angle. But to say that it's racial, no, it's not racial. Both sides have legitimate arguments. Lamar needing his money, should get his money paid accordingly. Should be paid more than Kyler Murray. Should be paid more. Should be paid more than Deshaun Watson, in my opinion. But the reality is, the number that Deshaun Watson got for Cleveland is, I get why they want to pay him that kind of money. I get it. And Baltimore, of course, has fears of his injuries and his reliability due to injury. Those are legitimate arguments. We can't dismiss that because we are fixated on a narrative that they want to play out and win. We can't do that. But my opinion here is this: I think somehow, come hell high water, Lamar Jackson will probably still be a Baltimore Raven this fall. I don't know how it happens. I don't know the money they agree on, but I really believe Lamar wants to stay in Baltimore, but he's forcing his hand here to get what he wants to get. And I get that. I support that. I think Baltimore comes in the final hour. That's just my opinion. I obviously can change my mind in the weeks once come. We got a lot of time here. You got the draft coming up in a few weeks. You got a lot of offseason activities coming in a few weeks. But I'll say this. This story ain't over yet. Not by a long shot. Anyway, that's the Unfiltered Podcast. Till the next one. Got him on Twitter at EJChristian7. Talk to you guys soon. Enjoy new theme music, by the way, guys. I love it. So we'll talk to you next one. Later.